It is officially wedding season and I wanted to create a really easy beginner-friendly makeup look for anyone who is either trying to save a little bit of money, maybe you've got multiple different weddings this season, or maybe you just can't afford the one that you've been invited to. So I'm going to show you a really easy makeup look so that you can save a few pennies when and how you wish. This has actually been a requested video from my family because we've had a lot of weddings this year and we've had weddings where I've not been able to do half of the family I would normally do who are going to the events. Like when there's an event on in the family, I just work. Like that is all I do. I work and then I attend as well. So this year it's been a bit difficult. Like for example, Saturday we've got a wedding. It's my cousin's wedding. I'm doing hair, makeup and the bridesmaids and things. But obviously I can't do the other members of my family. So this has been a requested video. So I wanted to show you how to create this makeup look right here. I am going to apologise if the lighting seems a little bit off. It is going to look like this when you're finished or similar to it, depends on what eyeshadows you use. But for whatever reason, because of the UK weather, it's been a nightmare between big dark grey clouds coming over, then it's dead bright, then it's too bright behind me, so all the lighting's changed. I've filmed this now 3 times. I've sat in my snug this time and I have sat in a corner in the hopes that it worked better. I don't know if it has, if I have to refilm this or you just think, no, we need another version of this video, then do please comment down below. I hope this video helps anyone attending a wedding. I know they're not cheap, from buying an outfit to getting your hair done, your makeup, a gift, actually attending a wedding, or if you're like me, self-employed, where you've got to take the day off, as well as all the other things that you're doing. It is a very pricey day. So I hope this makeup look is for the ultimate beginner, and I mean the ultimate beginner will be able to do this. So yeah, I hope you find this makeup tutorial really easy to follow. If you do like it, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Please do comment down below if you want things like this, or you want something similar, or you want another version of this, then do please leave them down below. Other than that, let's get into it. Key to a good eye look is an eye base, so I always use the P. Louise bases, so I will always recommend these. If you haven't got the funds for a base, then you can use a concealer. Try and use a medium coverage concealer. It just gives that little extra coverage to make sure that we cover the skin. The base is good for gripping the eyeshadow so they last longer. It's also good for showing the pigment of the eyeshadows, but they're also really good for ensuring that we cover the skin and we don't have any redness or any purple coming through on the eyelids that would affect the eye look. To apply a base, you can use any brush you want, or don't forget you have fingers. Fingers are one of the best things to apply so many different products onto your skin. You can just pat that all in and it will do the exact same thing. A big brush like the one I've just used, or a small flat one like the one I used at the beginning. So I have done this video in real time, but I've slowed a few things down so you can see what I'm looking at. So I've chose these 3 brown eyeshadows in a row from the Stacey Marie Carnival XL palette, and the reason for that is because a lot of brown eyeshadow palettes have this sort of style: a light, a medium and a dark. The first eyeshadow we're going to take is Basic, which is the lightest shade of all those colours. And this is what's going to be your transition shade from your shadows to your eyebrows. So this is in real time, but I just want to slow it down. As you can see, my fluffy brush is going in circular motions from the outer corner to 3/4 into the eyelid. And this is just on the crease and above. The brush is doing all the work for you because it is a big fluffy brush. I do recommend having a big fluffy brush in your repertoire because it is just going to make doing eye looks like this so much easier, and you're just going to keep buffing and buffing and buffing until you are happy with that look. It doesn't take any time at all. This is slowed down, remember, so that you can see what I'm doing, but honestly just fluff it all in. And that is both eyes done with our transition shades. So we're going to move on to our next eyeshadow. All is a medium tone brown, and we're going to take it on the fluffy brush that we used before. We're not going to use any more brushes. I'm going to try and make this as brushless as possible. Going to take that and we're going to push it into the outer corner of the eye, as you can see here. The best way to know where to place this eyeshadow is you're going to put the mirror right in front of you. Relax your forehead and make sure that you're looking straight in front. And what this is going to do, it's going to show you where your eyeshadow is sitting while your eyes are looking at people and you are relaxed. And that's the big key. You want to do it while your eyes are relaxed because you don't want anything to sit too high or too low. And you want to make sure that this eyeshadow just sits slightly above the natural crease of your eye socket because you don't want to lose this brown, okay? So as you can see, I'm just slowly pushing that in. I have slowed this down. This is just so you can see what I'm doing. And then as I take it away, you can just see how a little bit of that eyeshadow is sitting slightly above the crease, okay? And that is all you need. Just ever so slightly above the crease before you then pat a bit more eyeshadow, pack it on, and just use that as your guide to bring it just quarter, just in line with the eyebrow arch is probably the best way. You want that sort of diagonal line from the eyebrow arch to where this eyeshadow is going to finish. And that is it. That is all you need to do. And as you can see, looking forwards, you can see that eyeshadow. We haven't lost it. You want to then clean off your brush. You want to get yourself a brush cleaner if you can. Kitchen roll will do the same thing if you can't afford to get one. Clean off all that eyeshadow and go back in with that very first eyeshadow we used. And you want to do it on a 50-50 motion. You're wondering what I mean by 50%. 50% of the brush means that 50% is going onto the medium brown eyeshadow, haul, and 50% is going onto the new skin or the skin that we done before. So taking basic on that brush and going in with it on a 50-50 action means that you're going to blend the medium brown into basic, and basic is not going to be lost. We don't want to lose any colours that we put on the eye, otherwise they're just going to get muddy. But as you can see, 50% of the brush is on the new eyeshadow and 50% of the brush is on the new skin or the skin that we had originally put basic on. And what that's going to do is make haul blend into basic like an absolute dream. As you can see here, even I find moments where I'm like, right, I'm not happy with that blend, let's go back in. I just pulled the skin ever so slightly just to make it a little bit taut because I really wanted to work the brush into that area. And as you can see, it's 50% on and 50% off. So what I then wanted to do is I wanted to take whatever was left on my brush and buff basic into haul on the lid as well. So not only are we blending it up to the eyebrow, we're making like a nice ombre effect across the lid from dark to medium to light. And this is what really finishes off the look. It just gives it that really nice, soft and elegant finish. And again, this is really, really easy, really, really quick. You just quickly buff that in. Obviously, I've slowed it down for you a little bit, but you get the gist of what I'm doing. Because this video is for the ultimate beginner, I am slowing sections down so you can really see what I'm doing. Now, the next step is pigment. So we're going to take the MAC Cosmetics Naked Pigment and we're going to pop that on the inner corner of the eye to just slightly over halfway, just over ever so slightly so that it blends into basic. And you want to pop that on as nicely as you can. You can go as high up to the brow as possible because this Naked Pigment is truly naked. It is my absolute favourite pigment in all the world. It has got a teeny tiny bit of shimmer, so it doesn't highlight any fine lines or wrinkles on the eyes. It just gives a nice little flush of nude across the lid. And as you can see, I'm just working that over halfway over, slightly up, and then I'm going to grab that fluffy brush that we had basic on, and whatever residue is left, I'm just going to fluff that into the Naked Pigment like we did before. Now you can stop there, completely stop there if you wish to. I do think it looks gorgeous. You don't have to go in any darker, but this is for my girlies who want it a little bit darker. So we took the dark brown eyeshadow on a smaller brush if you possibly can. You do need a smaller brush for this section, so if you haven't got a smaller brush, then I do recommend just leaving this step out. And as you can see, I'm just packing that ever so slightly in the outer corner of my eye, and I'm only going ever so slightly, and I mean ever so slightly, onto the crease and slightly above. Always looking forward when doing this in the mirror because this is going to help you see exactly where you are putting these eyeshadows. The thing with darker eyeshadows is once it's on, it's on. So we want to make sure that we're putting it in the right place from the beginning, and we don't want to take this too high or too far out. We just want this to darken that outer corner ever so slightly. And as I said, if you are scared of dark eyeshadows, then maybe leave the step out and just go for a much lighter brown eye look, because I promise you, this step is not needed. This eye look looks stunning without the dark brown. As you can see, I'm barely moving my brush. I'm patting that eyeshadow into the outer corner, and I'm using very, very small circular motions to buff that into haul. Once I was happy with where I put the dark brown eyeshadow, I took haul on the same brush and made sure there was no dark brown left on it. I gave it a good clean, and I buffed haul into the dark brown with a 50-50 motion like we did with basic onto haul. You always want to do this 50-50 motion because it's going to help keep all your eyeshadows visible. They're not going to go muddy. And then once I was happy with how I'd buffed haul and the dark brown together, I went in with the basic brush, no added eyeshadow, just the brush, and buffed that in. And then we're going to do the same thing on the lid. We're going to go in with a little bit of haul and overlap that onto the dark brown. And then we're going to take the fluffy brush with the basic residue and buff that into the haul eyeshadow. And then you've got your naked pigment just perfectly blended into all them eyeshadows. And honestly, the effect in real life is truly stunning. Now, once we've done with the top of our eyes, we're going to move on to the underneath. And the way you want to do this is you want to clean off any eyeshadows if any have fallen. And then you're going to take your eye base and you're going to basically do exactly the same as you did on top, underneath. If you don't want anything underneath your eyes, then you can skip this step and go straight to skin. But if you do, what you're going to do is you're going to take haul on a pencil brush. This is what we call a pencil brush. And we're going to buff this from the outer corner towards the inner corner of the eye. Now, the biggest tip I can give you on this is to get a mirror up in the air and look at the ceiling as best as you can, but still see what you're doing. Use that pencil brush to buff haul from the outer corner to the inner corner. And by looking right at the ceiling, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to not get a watery eye or poke yourself in the eye or anything like that. Now, once you've applied that, you're going to buff that out using a little tiny bit of basic on a fluffy brush. As you can see, there is no pretty or elegant way of me doing this. I have very sensitive eyes, and that's why I am saying to you, make sure you're looking at the ceiling. Try and just avoid getting anything in your eyes. Now, if you've done a dark brown on the outer corner of your eye, you're going to take the dark brown eyeshadow on a flat liner brush like this, and we're just going to put it ever so slightly in the outer corner. We're not bringing it in barely even a quarter of the eye. You're just going to put that right near the lash line and just tightly pack that in. And once you've done that, you're going to rebuff everything back in. You're going to take the pencil brush with residue of haul on it, and you're just going to buff it into the dark brown. Now, once we're happy with all that blending, we're going to go in with the naked pigment again, bringing it from the inner corner, just underneath, and blending it into basic and haul and the dark brown that we've done. Just basically tap it over, and that's the underneath done. Now, our next step is lashes. They are always an option. You do not have to wear them if you don't want to. You can pop on your mascara and you are good to go. But if you are going to put lashes on, I'm going to show you the easiest ways to apply these eyelashes. Now, these are 3/4 lashes. They're just missing a little bit in the inner corner, and I find these really, really comfortable, especially if you're a beginner. You're going to find these easy to apply and just easier to wear in general. So you're going to take your eyelash out the packet and you're going to cut any ends that are not necessary. So it looks like this. Curl them with your eyelash curlers. Always makes the eyelash look better. Give them a good bend like this to warm up the bands. And then it's time to apply the glue. Once you've warmed them up a little bit, apply the glue. Very thinly, I want to say, always do a very thin little line of glue. Always make sure it's clear if you are using a clear lash band. Otherwise, it's going to go black if you use a black glue. So you want to apply the glue, set it aside, prep your second lash, and by the time you've prepped your second lash, you will be able to apply your first eyelash. So you're going to use tweezers. You're going to place the eyelash as best as you can in the position you want it. So you want to apply these by focusing on the middle first. So mainly holding like just over halfway towards the inner corner. Place them on. Pull the outer corner. As you can see here, I have slowed it down so you can see as clear as day. I am just pulling this ever so slightly to the outer corner. And then once you're happy with your outer corner position, you want to make sure that your inner corner is placed exactly where you want it. So basically you want this outer corner to sit perfectly on the outside bit, and then that is going to help you position where that inner corner is going to go. And then you can basically pull and tug and basically just place it where you want. But this is going to make it so much easier. When you warm up the band, when you curl the lashes, when you give the glue time to go tacky, that's when your eyelashes are going to apply with absolute dream. And look, that's done. Pretty much done. I just fiddled around with the outer corner because I wanted to, and fiddled around with the inner corner because I'm so particular, but that's also so I can show you exactly how to do it, and it's that easy. These were applied in no longer than 1.5 minutes. Even my cousin, when we were on holiday and I done her eyelashes, she was like, how do you get them to apply so easy? Another trick as well when you're doing your eyelashes, look down. Look down as best as you can, but still be able to see. Always look down when you're doing them. Always look down when you're measuring them. Never close your eye because your eye is not closed when you're wearing them. You want to make sure that you're looking down because this is going to give you the effect of your eye being open. And that is your eyes done. It is time to move on to the skin. So my skincare was already done before the video. I'm now going in with my L'Oreal Lumi Lotion. This is obviously optional, but I absolutely love it. And then I'll be going in with my foundation. So I chose this Bourjois foundation. It is just on medium, I would say. It's slightly lighter than medium, but it's closer to medium than it is to light, if that makes any sense. So choose your foundation, whichever one you use, and this is going to show you how to build a foundation. So this foundation is going on pretty lightly. As you can see, I am only using a very, very small amount because I don't like a lot of foundation on my skin, but I did want to show you how to build it up. So you're going to start with the center of your face and work it out. Never ever apply a large amount near the hairline or on the jawline, because you want to make sure that it doesn't look obvious that you're wearing foundation. So starting in the center of your face, center of your forehead, around your nose, chin, so on and so forth, is going to help you sheer that out towards those like hairlines and jawline. Always make sure that you put your foundation on your ears. It is like 101 makeup artist trick. Nothing worse than ears being a different shade to the face. So once I've done my first layer, I gave it a minute, and then I'm going in with the second layer, and this is just going to build the foundation up. So if you have a foundation that you're thinking, oh, this just isn't the coverage I want, always remember you can build that foundation up. Now, what you might also notice is this foundation is a little bit too dark for me. It's not too dark for my arms, but it's too dark for my neck. So I am bringing this down my neck, and I also want to show you how to balance that out using concealer. As you can see, my concealer is much lighter than the foundation, and I'm applying it in all the areas I like. Again, this is personal preference. You do not have to copy this directly. If you don't need to apply concealer underneath your eyes, then don't. If you don't want it on your chin, you don't have to. These are all personal preferences, but because my foundation is slightly darker, this application is going to help balance that foundation out and make it just appear that little bit lighter. So as you can see, I'm just starting to fluff the concealer under my eyes out. Normally I'd let the concealer underneath my eyes sit for a little bit longer, but because I wanted to fluff into that foundation and blend seamlessly, I did just lightly fluff the edges towards the cheek. I then went back in with the foundation brush that I was using so that the colours overlapped and it stops the foundation looking so much darker. Basically do that all the way around my face. I take the foundation brush, I start buffing that in, I take my concealer brush just to fluff out the edges, and this just helps balance out that foundation that's that ever so slightly too dark for my face. It just makes it look more balanced and closer to my skin, which on my arms, it matches perfectly, but on my neck, it didn't. So I just wanted to lighten it up ever so slightly. Again, this is going to obviously help highlight parts of your face. So if you want to make your chin appear more forward, then you will pop the concealer, on your chin. If you don't like your chin and you want your chin to recede backwards, you're not going to put that concealer on your chin. Okay, this is the thing about putting concealer. You want to apply it where it benefits you. If you want your jaw to appear wider, then you will put concealer on your jaw. You will not put concealer on your jaw like I did if you have a very square jaw and you don't want to highlight that. What this concealer is doing is brightening the face, and therefore it's going to highlight. So brightening is basically highlighting those features. And so if you don't like that feature, or you want that feature to appear smaller, then concealer is not your friend. A lighter concealer is not your friend. A slightly darker concealer, and that's where we get into contour and a lot more deeper into the world of makeup, which I don't want to hone in on too much in this video. I just want to make it a little bit simpler and just say, don't put it on the places that you don't want to highlight. So I wanted to keep this video as simple as possible because this is for the ultimate beginner, and we're going to apply a cream bronzer. So we're just going to take this, and I am putting a little bit around my jawline just because I wanted to create some dimension. It's not there to contour, it's just there to create a little bit of colour. I just wanted to show you two different brushes. If you've got these type of brushes, it's just to give you options depending on what you all have. Once I'd applied it in the areas I want my bronzer, which is normally on the cheeks, on the forehead, and around the jawline. The reason why bronzer often goes there is because you want to pretend that the sun has naturally kissed your face. So it would be on your forehead, it would be on your cheeks, and a little bit even on your nose would also work perfectly fine as well. Now this next step is cream blush. Now you may be wondering, why do we need cream blush? This seems a little bit advanced. It's not. The reason why you want cream blush is because you go into a wedding and your makeup needs to last for 12-14 hours. Cream blush underneath a powder blush is going to make that happen. Same with a cream bronzer underneath a powder bronzer. So that's why I want to show you these steps. As you can see, I'm applying this blush quite high on my cheekbone and up towards the temple of my face. You don't have to apply this. If you want your face to look fuller in the cheek, like around like the apples of your cheeks, then you're going to bring your blush to the apples of your cheeks. This is where you need to pick your preferences, and a YouTube video isn't only going to help you do that. But I showed you there a little bit of me applying it on the apples of my cheeks. I do not need any fuller cheeks. My cheeks are full enough. They are full, okay? We have hamster cheeks going on. We do not need any more fullness. So I just used my foundation brush to buff that blush out so that I can show you also how to correct it if you go too far down your face. So just want to take your concealer brush just to fluff your concealer into your blusher so there's a seamless blendability between the two. As you can see, I'm just fluffing the edges. There's no more concealer on this brush. It is just the residue from previous application, but we're just going to fluff that into the blusher so that they blend perfectly. We are now done with all our cream products, and we're going to move on to our powder products. So I use the Givenchy Prism Libre powder, but you can use whichever translucent powder you like. If you have a powder puff, this is the best way to apply it. You want to put the powder on the puff, whack it on the back of your hand so there's not too much going on your skin, and you want to push the product into the skin like this. What this is going to do is really get the product in there without moving the foundation. Now, if you don't have a powder puff, you can do it with a brush. As you can see, I am patting that powder into the skin, pushing it into the foundation. I'm not moving the brush in any circular big motions. I'm just pushing that powder in. What this is going to do is prevent any foundation underneath moving, but it's also going to ensure the longevity of your foundation throughout the whole day. As you can see underneath my eyes, I use a powder puff. You again can use a brush. Whichever one you have at hand. Powder puffs, by the way, are so cheap. So you can get these really, really cheap, really, really handy, and they are the best way to apply powder. They just give it a much more seamless finish. Once you've done that, you're going to take the powder brush and you're going to then buff that powder in. That's going to get rid of any excess powder, and it's just going to work the product again into the skin better than what it was previous with just the powder puff or just pushing it into the skin. By pushing the powder into the skin and then buffing the powder, what you're going to do is prevent any movement because you've pushed the product in, you've cemented the foundation, and then you're just getting rid of any excess. We can go in and apply our powder bronzer, and we're going to apply that exactly where we put the cream one. You might be wondering, well, you're going straight in with circular motions now. That's because we can. Our powder's in the way of this bronzer and our foundation, so nothing can move. And I find that when you go in with circular motions with your bronzer, it creates a much more fused look with the skin. It just creates the most stunning bronze. It looks seamless, and yeah, it's just the best way to apply bronzer, going in with circular motions and fluffing that exactly where you put that cream product. Then we're going to go and do the exact same thing with blush. We're going to place the blush exactly where we put our cream blusher. Now, if you didn't put any cream blush on, I do recommend maybe taking your blush out with you because blush comes off the face first. I don't know why. Blush just flies off your face, and by putting the cream on, what that does is emphasizes your blush, and then you apply your powder, which sits on top of that, and we put powder in between the cream and the powder blush, so therefore we elongated the cream underneath. So this is all about elongating your makeup. So if you didn't use a cream blush, you want to make sure that you're taking your blush out with you because that is probably going to be the first thing that leaves your face. Once you're happy with your blush application, apply highlight. If you don't want to apply highlight, you don't have to. Highlight, as I've said previously in this video, is going to highlight things you don't want. So if you have a lot of skin texture, spots, fine lines and wrinkles, maybe avoid applying the highlighter and just rely on your natural oils to give your skin that lovely glow. Matte skin always looks younger than glowy skin. It's just the rules. I don't make them. They are the rules. As you can see, I'm then going in with a little bit of powder again underneath my eyes. And what this is a setting powder. Now, this next bit is a little trick from me to you. Take a translucent powder on the edge of your eye makeup and buff it all the way around. Buff it into all the powders that you've just done. This is going to give that gorgeous, you know, when you look at someone's eye makeup and think, oh my God, that looks like so perfect. That's probably what they've done. Look at it. It looks gorgeous. Apply your lip of choice. Apply your mascara, which, by the way, you're going to see here how much apply mascara to these 3/4 length lashes. Look how much they look like they're just naturally stunning lashes. Like, I'm sorry. I also wanted to get this look in different lighting for you so you can see it. And that's pretty much it. I have tried to give you as many tips and tricks as I possibly can. I'm going to do more videos like this. And yeah, this makeup look is actually lovely. It is so easy to do. It's so soft, so gentle, and pretty much anyone with a fluffy brush could do this. And I've tried throughout that whole video to give minimal brushes, to give you options if you only have these options. Don't forget, you can always use your fingers when you're putting on things like the pigment, or if you're putting on your concealer and you haven't got a brush to buff that in, you can always use your fingers. So don't forget that. When you're doing your cream blush, you can pat that in with your fingers. When you're doing your contour, you can pat it in with your fingers. There's always an option. Even an earbud is a good way of getting some eyeshadow underneath the eyes. If you haven't got a little brush, just get an earbud. There's always something that you can use, so don't panic too much. I did try and use minimal brushes, which I hope that has helped you. But other than that, if you have liked this video, you like this look, you've given it a go, do please let me know. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye.